Have you ever wondered what life could be like if you let go of the things that no longer serve you? Imagine a life where stress melts away, and every day feels a little more relaxed and a lot more joyful. What if you could discover the secrets to living your best life by simply stopping certain habits and embracing newfound freedom? Welcome to our channel. In today's video, we're diving into 6 surprising things that people over 70 have happily removed from their to-do lists. And trust us, they're loving the results. From ditching the latest trends to saying no without guilt, these inspiring stories will not only entertain you but also offer valuable lessons you can apply to your own life. Why should you watch until the end? Because you'll uncover practical tips that can help you reduce stress, enhance your happiness, and live more authentically. Plus, you'll hear heartwarming and sometimes hilarious anecdotes that prove it's never too late to make positive changes. Whether you're approaching your golden years or simply looking to simplify your life, this video has something for everyone. So, sit back, relax, and get ready to be inspired by the wisdom and freedom that comes with age. Let's explore how letting go can lead to a richer, more fulfilling life. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. Thing number 1. Don't need to pretend to care about trends. Let's talk about trends. It's something most of us have fallen victim to at one point in our lives. Chasing the latest fashion or tech craze, hoping that owning that one item would make us feel more connected to the world around us. We buy the hottest new gadgets, the flashiest clothes, and the latest accessories, only to find ourselves standing in front of our closets, feeling an emptiness inside. All those shiny things don't fit into who we truly are. But here's the thing, when you hit 70, something truly magical happens. You stop caring about what others are doing. You stop pretending to be someone you're not. You stop feeling the pressure to conform to the ever-changing whims of society. You start living life on your terms, and you start realizing that what truly matters is doing what makes you feel good. This is exactly what happened to Judy. Meet Judy. She's 73, and if you had known her years ago, you would have seen a woman consumed by the latest trends. She spent decades chasing after fashion and technology like they were the very things that defined her. Judy was the one who wore heels that made her feet ache after just a few hours, convinced that they were the epitome of elegance. She'd get the newest smartphone, even if she had no clue how to use half the features. But no matter how many times she'd struggle to set up the latest gadget or wince in pain from her uncomfortable shoes, she would push through, convincing herself that it was worth it because, well, it was what everyone else was doing. Judy was living in a world where style was defined by others, not by her. But then, one morning, everything changed. Judy woke up, took a long look at her life, and realized something profound. She didn't have to suffer for fashion. She didn't have to pretend anymore. It wasn't about keeping up with what was in or impressing others. It was about being comfortable in her skin. That moment of clarity changed everything. Judy made the decision that so many of us never do. She chose comfort. She threw out those painful heels, which she'd once convinced herself were worth the agony, and never looked back. Now, Judy's go-to look? A cozy, oversized sweater, soft stretchy pants, and perhaps most importantly, a pair of fuzzy slippers. Yes, you read that right. This is the same woman who once spent hours combing through fashion magazines, stressing over which shoes to wear and whether her latest purchase was on trend. Now, her daily outfit revolves around comfort and contentment. It's simple, it's easy, and it brings her joy. And here's the kicker. Judy doesn't feel guilty. At all. She's fully embraced the truth that comfort and joy should never be sacrificed for the sake of a passing trend. I'll never forget the day Judy showed up to a family reunion wearing her fuzzy slippers. It was like a scene from a movie. There she was, surrounded by relatives, cousins, kids, grandkids, each of them dressed in fancy clothes, their shoes shiny and their hair perfectly styled. But Judy? She stood proudly in the middle of the crowd, rocking those slippers like she had just stepped out of a high-end fashion show. She looked around at everyone's stunned faces, shrugged her shoulders, and simply said, "Why suffer for style when comfort is the real luxury?" The room fell silent for a moment and then erupted in laughter. But Judy didn't care. She was basking in the freedom she had found in embracing her authentic self. She was wearing those slippers, and she owned it. And you know what? They became the highlight of the gathering, and everyone was talking about them long after the party was over. Now, Judy isn't concerned with what's trending anymore. She doesn't care about keeping up with the young ones or impressing anyone. She's too busy enjoying life, savoring the moments that truly matter. Whether she's sipping tea in her cozy living room or meeting friends for a low-key lunch, Judy has discovered the secret that so many people spend their entire lives chasing. Style is not about the latest fashion or trying to fit in. It's about confidence, comfort, and living in a way that makes your heart happy. And here's my takeaway. I think if more of us embraced this mindset, if we let go of the need to impress and instead focused on finding peace and joy and simplicity, we'd all feel a little lighter, a little freer, and, most importantly, a lot more ourselves. Life is too short to be trapped by trends. The real beauty lies in comfort, confidence, and embracing the things that bring us true happiness. I hope we can all learn from Judy's bold decision to live life on her terms, because at the end of the day, that's what matters. Thing number 2. Don't need to say yes to every invitation. When you're younger, the world often feels like a stage, and you're expected to be in the spotlight at every turn. You feel this relentless pull to be everywhere, to do everything, to say yes to every invitation that comes your way. It's almost as if you're trying to prove something, as if your worth is measured by how busy you are or how many social events you can attend. But then, something changes. As you reach the beautiful age of 70, that heavy pressure to keep up with the hustle and bustle starts to fade, almost as if it was never there at all. And this, my friends, is where the real freedom begins. Just take Fred, for example. Fred, at 76, was once the life of every party, the spark in every social gathering. If there was any event happening, you could always count on Fred to show up, tell jokes, share stories, and make everyone feel included. He was that guy, carrying a bottle of wine, cracking open a cold drink, and taking over the dance floor as if the music were made just for him. But as time passed, Fred came to an important realization. While those parties were full of laughter and energy, they never truly nourished his soul. The conversations were often shallow, the music too loud, and the endless appetizers started to feel like nothing more than distractions. Those parties, once so exciting, started to feel more like an obligation than a joy. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Now, Fred is the undisputed king of the thanks, but no thanks club. When he gets invited to a party, he no longer feels the need to say yes out of obligation. He's found a new rhythm in life. He lovingly declines invitations and chooses instead the quiet comfort of his own space. Why? Because Fred has discovered something invaluable: peace. A quiet evening with a good book and his beloved cat, Whiskers. No small talk. No crowded rooms. Just tranquility. He no longer has to engage in awkward conversations about the latest office gossip or feign interest in the mundane chatter about the weather. Instead, Fred sits in his favorite armchair, reading about the things that truly excite him, while Whiskers, his faithful companion, lounges nearby. In those moments, Fred experiences a kind of bliss that no party or social gathering could ever match. Fred's new motto? The best parties are the ones you're not invited to. And honestly, how can anyone argue with that? There's something undeniably liberating about saying no without the heavy weight of guilt. Instead of running through a packed social calendar, Fred now pours his energy into the things that bring him real joy, whether it's savoring a solo dinner at his favorite restaurant, binge-watching a beloved TV show, or simply enjoying a quiet moment alone. He's learned a powerful truth. Time is precious, and it's okay to cherish it by keeping some of it just for yourself. So, the next time you're faced with an invitation, remember Fred's hard-won wisdom. It's not about how many parties you attend or how often you show up at social events. It's about savoring the moments that truly matter. The ones where you can simply be yourself, with no expectations, no noise, just a deep sense of peace and contentment. The best invitation you can ever accept is the one that invites you to a place of stillness within your own heart. And, trust me, no party can offer you that kind of joy. Thing number 3, don't need to follow a perfect routine. When we're younger, society bombards us with the idea that a perfect routine is the key to success and happiness. We push ourselves to wake up at the crack of dawn, hit the gym with the enthusiasm of a marathon runner, meditate like we're training for enlightenment, eat a breakfast full of green smoothies, and keep pushing through a list of should-dos that never ends. It's as though if we don't check off each item, we're somehow failing. But then, something magical happens when you hit 70. That pressure to be perfect starts to fade away, and suddenly, a life full of rigid rules and expectations seems a lot less important. This shift, this sweet release from the chains of perfection, is something I believe everyone deserves to experience, just like Gail did. Gail, a 72-year-old woman who once embodied the word routine, is living proof of the freedom that comes with letting go of the need for perfection. She was the queen of discipline. Up at 5:30 a.m. sharp, bounding out of bed like the day owed her something. Her mornings consisted of a brisk walk, a yoga session that seemed to defy the laws of flexibility, a nutrient-packed smoothie, and a well-planned agenda for the day that could have rivaled a corporate CEO's calendar. Gail thought this regimented lifestyle was the secret to staying youthful, energized, and thriving. She believed that if she stuck to the schedule, everything would fall into place, and life would remain vibrant. But one fateful day, after a particularly grueling yoga session, something inside her shifted. She paused, truly paused, and thought, why am I pushing myself so hard to fit into this box? What if I could just let life unfold without a plan? What if I could just be, without all the rules? That was the moment everything changed. No longer bound by the need for a perfect schedule, Gail decided to embrace a more liberating approach to life. Now, she rolls out of bed around 10 a.m., slowly getting into her robe like the world has all the time in the universe. There's no rush, no alarm clock dictating her every move. Some days, she has coffee, and some days, she doesn't. The thought of following a rigid routine has become a distant memory. She listens to her body, and what it wants, she gives it, without hesitation. Some days it's a leisurely breakfast, the kind where she savors every bite, knowing there's no hurry. Other times, it's a day spent in her pajamas, cozy and content, catching up on her favorite shows as if the world outside simply doesn't matter. And honestly, Gail has never felt more at peace. The truth is, she's found that some of the best mornings are the ones where nothing gets done. And why fight it? There's something so wonderfully freeing about waking up and deciding that today is a day with no agenda. No early yoga, no rush to get out for a walk in the cold morning air. Just pure, unadulterated freedom to exist without pressure. That's where the magic lies. Sometimes, the most rejuvenating thing you can do is to simply let go, relax, and embrace the beauty of doing absolutely nothing. Now, instead of ticking off tasks on a never-ending to-do list, Gail is living in the moment. No stress. No perfection. Just pure joy. And for those of us who've spent years trying to live up to an impossible standard, Gail's story is a powerful reminder. Life is too short to keep following a schedule that doesn't nourish your soul. There's something incredibly precious about allowing yourself to have a day, or even a morning, where you do absolutely nothing and feel no guilt for it. Some of the best days are the ones where you simply let yourself exist, just as you are, in the comfort of your own space, wearing your pajamas, and completely free from the demands of a perfect routine. Gail's journey isn't just about abandoning a strict routine. It's about embracing the wisdom that comes with age, that we deserve to slow down, to be kind to ourselves, and to savor the precious moments when we don't have to prove anything to anyone. If you've ever felt the pressure of trying to keep up with a perfect schedule or meet impossible expectations, take a deep breath and remember that sometimes the most fulfilling thing you can do is nothing at all. And if you're lucky enough to be in your later years, don't let anyone tell you that a leisurely morning in your robe isn't exactly what you need. It's more than enough. It's everything. Thing number 4, don't need to keep up with the news. As the years pass, we often find ourselves wrapped up in the demands of staying informed, especially with the constant flow of news. In today's world, it's so easy to become absorbed by the endless updates, the disasters, the headlines screaming for attention at every corner. But something truly shifts when you reach your 70s. Suddenly, you start to realize that you don't have to consume every piece of news, every tragic event, or every fleeting moment of chaos to have a peaceful, fulfilling life. It's a liberation that's both profound and transformative. Take Walter, a wise and thoughtful 74-year-old, who is a beautiful example of this kind of shift in perspective. Walter spent years glued to the TV every evening, religiously watching the news, trying to absorb every story, every economic report, every bit of conflict unfolding in every corner of the globe. At first, he thought it was his civic duty, a moral responsibility to stay aware of what was going on in the world. But as time passed, something started to feel different. The news wasn't just informing him, it was draining him. Each update, each new headline, each story of tragedy and hardship seemed to pile on the weight of stress and anxiety in his heart. Slowly, the constant barrage of negativity began to affect his mental and emotional health. He felt overwhelmed, like he couldn't escape the grip of the world's woes. Then, one evening, as he sat there, once again absorbed in a cycle of distressing news, Walter had a powerful realization, a moment of clarity that felt like a breath of fresh air. Why put himself through all this anxiety? Why let the world's troubles infiltrate his peace when he didn't need to? That was the moment he made a decision that would forever change his nightly routine. No more nightly news. Now, Walter's evenings are filled with quiet joy. He no longer feels the need to check the latest headlines or refresh his news app. Instead, he settles in his favorite chair with a warm bowl of popcorn, ready to enjoy reruns of his beloved sitcoms. The Golden Girls and Cheers have become his go-to, comforting companions, episodes he's watched 100 times but never tires of. And you know what? He couldn't be happier. There's a kind of sweetness in watching familiar faces, in basking in the comfort of laughter, in escaping to simpler, lighter times. With every laugh and every heartwarming moment on screen, Walter's stress melts away, and his heart feels lighter. He's discovered the pure bliss of not knowing every detail about world events, and it has been one of the most refreshing changes of his life. Of course, Walter isn't living under a rock. He still knows the big things, the crucial updates about his loved ones, the occasional major world news, but he no longer allows every story, every crisis to invade his peaceful evenings. Sometimes, when he looks back, he marvels at how much better his life has become without the constant bombardment of bad news. It's like the clouds parted, and he could finally see the beauty of just living in the moment. As Walter puts it, with a wink and a smile, I'd rather be laughing at Dorothy's sarcastic one-liners than worrying about the latest headline. And you know what? There's so much wisdom in that. There's something so deeply freeing in choosing peace over panic, in letting go of what we can't control and embracing the simple joys that bring us comfort. Life is fragile, and the older we get, the more precious time becomes. Why waste it on the stress of a world we cannot fix? If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. So, why not take a page out of Walter's book? There's immense value in stepping back from the news, in choosing peace, in carving out time for the things that bring joy to your heart. The world may keep turning, with all its chaos and drama, but we don't have to let it steal our happiness. Instead of letting the news dictate our mood, maybe it's time to choose a little more laughter, a little more joy, and a lot more peace. Because at the end of the day, your mental and emotional well-being are far too important to be controlled by the headlines. Thing number 5. Don't need to be polite all the time. When you're younger, society places this overwhelming expectation on you. Always be polite. It's as if your entire worth is wrapped up in how well you can smile through discomfort, nod along even when you disagree, and silence your true thoughts to avoid stepping on anyone's toes. It feels like you're constantly walking on eggshells, biting your tongue just to keep the peace. But here's the thing that hits you when you reach 70. Politeness? It's vastly overrated. And as you grow older, you realize that the world doesn't need your fake smiles, nor does it need you to pretend. You, like Ethel, might just come to the liberating conclusion that being real, honestly, unapologetically real, is what truly matters. Take Ethel, for instance. She's 77 now, and she's learned this lesson the hard way, but also with a sense of empowerment and freedom that she never had in her younger years. Ethel spent much of her life being the polite one, the one who smiled and nodded, no matter how uncomfortable or disinterested she felt. She would bite her tongue, even when faced with situations that made her cringe, like eating yet another casserole from her daughter-in-law or pretending to enjoy conversations about things she had no interest in. She thought that this was just part of being a good person, part of being liked. But one day, Ethel reached a breaking point. Something inside her shifted, and she realized that living for others' approval was exhausting. She no longer wanted to carry the burden of politeness for the sake of keeping things easy. That moment came when she looked out at her neighbor's yard, a jungle of untamed weeds and overgrown grass that had been nagging at her for weeks. No more. Ethel couldn't bite her tongue any longer. The next time she saw her neighbor, she looked them square in the eye and said, with complete honesty, "You know, you really should mow that lawn. It's starting to look like a safari out there." It was blunt. It was bold. And it felt like a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. That was the moment she set herself free. Ethel's life didn't need to revolve around being the nice one anymore. She realized she didn't have to hold back just to avoid conflict. From that point on, she embraced her voice, telling the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it made others. Her family was taken aback at first, of course. They weren't used to her candor. But they came to appreciate it because it was Ethel, genuine, straightforward, and unafraid to speak up. Take the time her daughter-in-law brought over another casserole. Ethel smiled politely at first, but instead of holding back, she simply said, "I appreciate the effort, dear, but I don't need another casserole. I've had enough of those to last a lifetime." It wasn't rude, it wasn't harsh, it was just honest. And while her daughter-in-law was a bit stunned by the comment, Ethel could see that there was a small, secret sense of admiration behind the surprise. Ethel's bravery to speak her mind gave her a sense of empowerment she never thought possible. It made her feel lighter, like a weight had been removed from her chest. And it wasn't just about saying no to casseroles or mowing lawns. It was about reclaiming her right to live life on her terms, without the constant pressure of being polite to others. Now, Ethel doesn't hold back in any situation. Whether it's about her neighbor's garden or her preferences, she speaks her truth. And you know what? People respect her for it. They admire her candor, even if it's not always what they expect to hear. It's a stark reminder that life is too short to keep pretending. Why stay trapped in the cage of politeness, when you could be free to live authentically, to speak honestly, and to finally say what you truly feel? So, if you've ever found yourself biting your tongue, trying desperately to avoid stepping on anyone's toes or keeping the peace at the cost of your peace of mind, take a page from Ethel's book. Embrace your voice. Be real, because at the end of the day, the people who truly matter will respect you for your honesty. And trust me, there's nothing more satisfying than knowing that, in your later years, you finally permitted yourself to just be you. Thing number 6. Don't need to keep apologizing. When we're younger, we're conditioned to apologize constantly. often for things that don't even warrant an apology. It's ingrained in us from childhood. You sneeze too loudly? Sorry. You bump into someone at the grocery store? Oh, I'm so sorry. Even just taking up too much space in a room can make us feel the need to apologize, as if our mere existence is somehow an inconvenience to others. But something truly beautiful happens when you reach the age of 70. Something incredibly freeing. You finally stop apologizing for every little thing, and in that moment, you start living more authentically than you ever have before. You realize that your presence in the world is not something to be ashamed of, but something to embrace. Take Harry, for example. At 70, he became a sort of local legend, not because of some grand achievement, but because of a simple realization that changed everything. You see, Harry spent much of his life apologizing for nearly every action, no matter how small. If he sneezed too loudly, he'd mutter a quick apology, as if his sneeze were a personal affront to those around him. If he accidentally bumped into someone at the store, he would immediately launch into a string of, "Oh, I'm so sorry," even if the other person didn't seem bothered. Even if he was just standing in line too long, Harry would apologize, not because anyone cared, but because he felt he had to. His sense of obligation to others' comfort overshadowed his own. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. But then, one day, Harry had a moment of clarity that completely transformed his perspective. He asked himself the simple yet profound question: why am I always apologizing for just being me? It was as if a light bulb went off in his mind, illuminating the truth that had been there all along. He didn't need to apologize for existing. From that point forward, Harry made a conscious choice to stop apologizing for every little thing. He realized that his space in this world was just as valid as anyone else's, and he didn't need permission to take it. Now, when you encounter Harry, he's not going to apologize if he bumps into you. He'll crack a joke and laugh. If he accidentally knocks something over at the store, he'll chuckle and say, "Well, that's one way to make a statement." His newfound approach to life is full of humor, confidence, and self-acceptance. Harry has become a master at owning his actions with grace and charm. His quirky dance moves at family reunions are no longer something to be embarrassed about. No, now they are part of what makes Harry Harry. And when he's at dinner and expresses his thoughts a bit too loudly or boldly, he simply smiles and says, "I've earned this." It's this unapologetic embrace of who he is that has made Harry a beloved figure in his community. He's shown everyone around him that it's okay to live fully, authentically, and without the constant need for approval. And his family has learned to adopt his motto, "No apologies necessary." They now see Harry for what he truly is, a person who's embraced his true self and no longer feels the weight of apologizing for it. It's inspiring to watch someone so full of life and confidence, not bound by the social pressures of trying to please everyone. There's a kind of beauty in his defiance of the need to apologize for simply being himself. So, the next time you find yourself about to apologize for something trivial, something that doesn't need an apology, think of Harry. Remember that sometimes the best thing you can do is laugh it off and think, "I've earned this." Because if you can't be unapologetically yourself at 70, then when can you? Harry is a living testament to the freedom that comes with self-acceptance. And trust me, it's never too late to start living that way. As we wrap up today's video, I want to ask you, what have you learned so far? Whether it's the importance of self-acceptance, the power of letting go of unnecessary apologies, or simply the reminder that it's okay to embrace who you are, I hope you found something that resonates with you. I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you've learned today that you're planning to bring into your life moving forward? Drop your thoughts and reflections in the comments below. I truly value your insights and would love to see what changes you're making. And, of course, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment, give us a thumbs up, share with someone who might benefit from it, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Your support means the world to us. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.